Perfect. All right. So I'm here representing the SAPES project, which is a European project in which we are 30 partners participating from 20 different countries. And the main purpose of the project is just to provide a platform in which we can put different solution services and at the end of the day, technology for supporting the active and healthy aging. In this large project, I will be presenting today, or I will be focusing in one of the pilots which focus on physical rehabilitation at home, providing solutions for that specific purpose. So, as you will see through my presentation, there are many similarities between our project, a pilot for rehabilitation at home, and vCare. So what are the main differences of these two projects, or the ideas that have been already presented here? Our approach within SAPES is to provide this one platform. In this case, it is like a sub-platform of the SAPE platform, which is known as Physio, in which we can put all the different technologies for supporting the different specific tasks involved in the rehabilitation of an older adults. We have identified four different purposes. One of them is the orofacial rehabilitation. I will explain or get into more details in the following slide, but basically it's just for people that have suffered some paralysis or something similar. Then we have another goal, which is to support this walking assistant, but with some robot assistance for walking. Then we have the camera-based rehabilitation, which in this case we are focusing, for the orofacial, we are focusing on the face. With the camera-based rehabilitation, we targeted the rest of the body. And finally, we are also incorporating different wearable devices that can provide very relevant information about the rehabilitation process, how it is the person, how it is evolving through the rehabilitation project. So for the rehabilitation, for the orofacial rehabilitation, you will see also through the presentation that we have identified one single physical platform, like our platform, which is a smart mirror, but we are also providing other devices that can be useful for people that they don't want to incorporate any more devices at home, for example. So this is just a normal TV, the one that you can see on the left side of the slide, but I will show you in the following slide also that this same functionality can be run in that platform, which is a smart mirror. So I don't know if I can play the video. We can play that one. There were the two views, the views of the user in front of the system, and then the other one was recording the screen. Here you can see the specialist just showing how to perform the exercises. It is just blowing the cheek, and the person is performing the exercises. These exercises are being counted, how many repetitions has been prescribed, how many repetitions is the user doing, but also we are measuring the facial symmetry. We are also measuring how distant are you, or the user in this case, from the targeted posture on the face. And we are recording all this data that are providing information to the specialist, to the therapist, to see how the person is evolving through the rehabilitation process. That one, isn't it? Yes. Then the second use case we have considered is the use of these commercial robots that are just providing assistance during the walking activity, but it is also recording data, not only the number of steps or the distance that you have walk, but also how it's the pressure on one side or the other, some parameters related to the gait pattern the user is following, and all this information is being recorded and provided to the therapist. The third use case that I assume that, let me see if you can, you can see this video. The third use case we have considered is also providing rehabilitation assistance for the rest of the body parts. So in this case, we are using although we thought at the beginning the use of depth cameras like Kinect, finally, because of many difficulties that the price, the setting up and all that, finally, we decided to go for just a normal webcam. And we are running some software that is performing the body pose estimation. And this is what we are doing. We're just tracking the number of repetition. Again, we measure the maximum and minimum range of the movement of the articulation that can give you an idea also of how the person is evolving over time. So finally, the fourth use case is the inclusion of the different wearable devices. One of the devices has already been presented here before, is the smart band, the Xiaomi Mi Band 4 band. But in our case, we have some issues with the GDPR because with Xiaomi Cloud, we couldn't get the data because some data protection issues. So we implemented our own service just to collect the data without connecting to the internet. So the data are being gathered directly from the band, and we are just storing in a private cloud, in the cloud of the safe project, and we are providing the data through the Physio platform to the caregivers, but also to the specialists and the individual, him or herself, that are providing the data. This is giving the information that you already know, number of steps, heart rate, and all that. But we are also considering other wearable devices like the sensor that you can see on the left side, which is also, over there, the image might be a little bit not very user-friendly. It is very, very handy, it's very tiny, and we are using it for different purposes. Like when it is holding from the waist, you can detect folds. You can also measure the evolution during the gait rehabilitation process, because we are measuring how different are the pattern of how the person walks and all this information. So, what are the key technological challenges that we have to face? Obviously, from our perspective, have been the integration of all these different technology. We didn't want the therapists or the physiotherapists to get the data, download the data, record the data. We want it all independently of the type of device, the smart band, the sensor, the robot, the camera, whatever. We want it to be automatically collected without requiring the minimum intervention of the user. So from our perspective, that was the biggest challenge that we have to face. Regarding how we have ensured that the technology is acceptable and usable from the point of view of the user, inside the project, the SAFE project, we have followed from the very beginning a co-creation approach. But also, we identified that it is not only the user that is finally using the technology that is relevant. There are some other stakeholders that are also relevant, like the technology, the technicians that are developing the technology, the caregivers that have to pay, or the person that have to pay for the technology, and at the end of the day, not only the person that is going to use it, but other person or other roles. So we wanted to do more systematically to systematically evaluate how to the decision that we were going to make. So we decided to run an experiment in which we identified for the physio system, we identified different alternatives in which we were considering the use of a platform, like the physio platform, in which all the data are available with the dashboard and everything. It is necessary or not, with a smart band, either using a webcam, which is cheap, but not very, with regard to the precision, it's not very precise in comparison with a depth camera like Kinect, but also cheaper and easier to install. So we put all the elements on the table, and we ask the users, the developers, the physiotherapists, therapists, all the roles involved. And at the end, we got that the alternative that was more acceptable for all the persons involved, people involved in the questions, were the alternative number 3, that rather than having a Kinect, it has a webcam, which is cheaper, easier to install in the house, and also there were some elements like it is relevant or it is regarding in terms of privacy, there were some concerns about recording video or not. But at the end, we got that it was the functionality or the data that was provided to the therapist. It was more important that the risk that it prompt to the user. So finally, we decided that going for the alternative using webcam rather than Kinect and recording the data and providing a whole service was the most acceptable choice. Regarding how to integrate physio in the current practice, from the point of the clinical practice, physio provides two useful elements, which is the dashboard in which all the data for the patients are being provided in an easy to read way. You can see here the data for the smart band, but we have the same for the data for the gait analysis. We are providing some like high-level graphics in which you can see how a person is evolving over time. But also we have something that that the people from the clinical side has found useful, which is a call service. It's just a video conference installed inside the system that is very easy to use because it's just based on the RFID tag with printed names, and the user can use to call the general practice, but also the physiotherapist or also a relative or whatever it is. And in terms of the how to integrate that in terms of the data. So we are using the current state-of-the-art standard that can make very easy to integrate our data or our information with other platforms. In terms of not only we are considering how to integrate physio not only with existing like standards and all that, we are also considering the integration with other services. So for that, we are presenting the use of these smart mirror, as I mentioned before, and we are considering we have already integrated rehabilitation with other elements like the monitoring of the smart home with all the sensors that are present in the house. We are also integrating the fall detection system, a voice assistant, very basic voice assistant for starting calls or just asking for reminders and things like that. And finally, I just wanted to show you the different prototypes that we have available at this moment. One is the one is the kiosk. This one on the second is the small version of the smart mirror, and the other two are the large version of the smart mirror. All these services are working in these three platforms, which make very apart from the normal TV, which made it very convenient for deciding where to setting up the pilot. And that's all from my side. So thank you.